Welcome to the deep dive. We skip the endless searching and bring you the focused insights. Today, we've gathered the details on a really interesting route. We're exploring the scenic drive through Minnesota's Northwoods, the one connecting Ely and Virginia.
Right. And our goal here is to, bring the history alive, highlight the key spots, maybe uncover some fascinating facts along the way.
Exactly. For anyone curious, planning a trip, or just, well, a lifelong learner interested in these places.
And it's important to say this isn't just pavement. It's really a journey through a specific part of Minnesota, linking two towns with some pretty deep historical roots. We want to unpack what makes it special.
Okay, let's start with the basics, the route itself. We're talking about Minnesota State Highway 169 primarily. That's the main connector between Virginia and Ely.
Yeah, that's the one. And, the feel of this drive changes quite a bit depending on when you go.
Oh, definitely. Like if you want that full Northwoods winter scene, maybe think about February.
Right. You get the snow, that crisp air, and you might even catch the Ely Winter Festival, which is pretty unique.
But then fast forward a few months.
And it's a completely different picture. Fall is spectacular up there. Parts of the Superior National Forest Scenic Byway run through this general area.
Ah, okay.
So think September, you could get amazing fall colors. The bright yellows of aspen and birch, maybe those softer tamarack golds too.
It sounds beautiful.
It really is a real visual treat.
And here's something interesting. I saw sort of a tip from another traveler online.
Oh, yeah.
They mentioned if you take Highway 1 a bit north of Ely, heading towards the North Shore,
All right.
apparently there's a decent shot at seeing moose, especially around Isabella, maybe dawn or dusk.
Huh, interesting. So Highway 169 is our focus, but that's a good side note for wildlife enthusiasts.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably worth mentioning, though, these northern roads, Highway 1 included, they can be pretty windy and remote in spots.
Good point.
And snow cover is a real factor for a good chunk of the year. So distances might feel longer than they look on the map. Careful driving is definitely key.
Absolutely. Good advice. Now, to really get this drive, we kind of need to zoom out a bit, don't we? To the Iron Range.
Definitely. You can't talk about this part of Minnesota without talking about the Iron Range. Ely and Virginia are both in St. Louis County, which is right in the heart of it.
And the range is known for these huge iron ore deposits. The big three are the Mesabi, Vermilion, and Cuyuna ranges.
Exactly. And finding and mining that ore, well, it fundamentally shaped Minnesota, its industry, its culture, everything.
It wasn't just digging stuff out of the ground.
No, not at all. It built towns, drew waves of immigrants looking for work, powered the state's economy for generations. It was massive transformation.
And geographically, Virginia is close to the Mesabi Range, right? And Ely is nearer the Vermilion.
That's correct. And the demand for that ore, it pulsed with history. Huge spikes during World War I, World War II. Then, later years saw demand drop, mines closing down. Those boom and bust cycles really left a mark.
So when you're driving that highway, you're driving through that history.
You really are. The landscape, the towns, they all echo that industrial past. There's actually something called the Iron Range Loop Scenic Ride.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it goes from near Eveleth in Virginia up towards Ely, and it's specifically designed to showcase that American mining history. Connects the dots for you.
And I read this fascinating detail. The Highway 169 Cross Range Expressway, the 4-lane bit between Mountain Iron, Virginia, it was actually moved south a bit, shifted,
Why was that?
to make room for the U.S. Steel Mintac mine. The mine was just that big.
Wow. That really shows the scale, doesn't it? Mining literally reshaping the infrastructure.
It does. It makes you think about the sheer size of these operations and how they changed everything, that the land, people's lives.
Yeah, what did that industry demand?
Yeah.
And what's the legacy it left behind? It's layered.
Okay, let's zoom back in. Let's talk about Ely first. It's famous as the gateway, right, to the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness, the BWCAW.
That's its big claim to fame, for sure. Known everywhere for canoeing, fishing, dog sledding in winter. That feeling of really remote wilderness.
But Ely itself, it's not just an outpost, is it?
Not at all. That's what's interesting. It holds on to that rugged, wild spirit, but it's still got a relaxed, small town feel. And surprisingly good amenities, Nice places to eat, artisan shops.
It's a nice blend.
It really is. And it works year-round. Summer's obvious lakes, camping, fall, those colors we mentioned, perfect for drives.
And winter?
Winter has those iconic things like dog sledding. Even spring is lively with wildlife coming out.
So if you stop in Ely, what are the must-dos?
Well, there are a few key places. The International Wolf Center is fascinating, really gives you insight into wolf behavior.
Okay.
And the North American Bear Center, you can actually see live black bears there in a big natural setting. It's pretty cool.
Oh, different from a zoo, I imagine.
Very different. More like observing them in their habitat. Then there's the Ely Folk School for local skills, like blacksmithing, even.
Blacksmithing, that's unique.
Isn't it? And for history buffs, you've got the Dorothy Moulter Museum. She was the famous root beer lady of the Boundary Waters.
Ah, I've heard of her.
Yeah, amazing story. And the Ely Winter History Museum covers the broader local past.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the Braforte Heritage Center and Cultural Museum is vital for understanding the native history of the area.
Lots to explore just in the town. What about getting out, like hiking?
Oh yeah, plenty trails. Bass Lake Trail is interesting, partly because of a big washout back in 1925, so it's got history and ecology.
Okay.
Then there's Angleworm Trail, Trezona Trail, Hidden Valley.
Any standouts for scenery?
Maybe the Secret Blackstone Trail. It's
Yeah.
known for waterfalls, rock cliffs, really scenic views. And Snowbank Lake Trail is good for a longer hike.
So Ely is definitely a destination itself, not just a jumping off point.
Absolutely. It's a key stop on that Superior National Forest Scenic Byway, too, offering shopping, dining, history, like that Dorothy Moulter Museum.
Right. Okay, let's shift gears and head towards the other end of our drive, Virginia, the Queen City of the North.
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Virginia has a bit of a different vibe, more of a historic retail and entertainment center, sitting right at that key junction of Highways 53 and 169.
And its history is tied more to logging initially.
Logging and lumbering, yes.
Yeah.
You can learn about that at the Heritage Museum, which is right near Olcott Park, another spot we should talk about.
Okay. And arts.
Definitely. The Lear Center for the Arts. It's a beautifully restored old opera house, and now it showcases local artists. Really nice venue.
Cool. What about landmarks, things you'd notice driving through?
Well, there's the state's tallest bridge, which spans the Rushlow Mine Pit. It's quite impressive, right on the edge of town. Gives you some dramatic views.
A mine pit view, wow.
Yeah. And on a lighter note, there's the world's largest floating loon on Silver Lake. Kind of quirky, a fun photo op.
Huh. Gotta love roadside attractions. Is Virginia lively in the summer, too?
Oh, yeah. They have the Land of Loon Festival, usually mid-June. Big event, arts, crafts, music, food.
Sounds fun.
They also do weekly music in the park. There's a Bridge City Music Festival and even a food truck festival in the fall. So,
Yeah.
a lot's going on.
Any other spots to check out in town?
Sure. The Virginia Square Market is good for local foods and products. Veterans Park has a notable sculpture. And the Iron Trail Motors Event Center hosts various things.
You mentioned the bridge over the mine pit.
Right, the Tom Rukavina Memorial Bridge. There's a Bridgeview Park nearby, too, specifically for taking in that view of the Rushlow Mine Pit. It really gives you a sense of the scale of mining.
And cultural history.
Yes, there's the B'nai Abraham Heritage and Cultural Center, which focuses on the area's Jewish immigrant history, and Kaliva Hall, which celebrates the region's strong Finnish heritage.
So lots of layers there, too. Now, what about between Ely and Virginia? Any key stops right along Highway 169?
Definitely. There are a couple of really great state parks practically right on the route.
Okay, like what?
First one is Bearhead Lake State Park. I heard someone mention it's gorgeous for kayaking, and they actually rent them there. Super convenient stop.
Nice. Easy to pull off the highway.
Exactly. And then also along 169 is Sudan Underground Mine State Park, which is now part of Lake Vermilion State Park.
Ah, the underground mine tour.
That's the one. You go half a mile down. It's a really unique way to connect with that mining history we've been talking about. Very tangible experience.
That sounds incredible. So the whole Lake Vermilion area is sort of accessible from this drive, too.
Yeah, the drive skirts the southern edge of it. So you've got access to the lake, the wildlife potential. We mentioned wolves, bears at the centers near Ely, plus the mining history at Sudan. And just generally scenic drives around there.
What about seeing active mining? Is that possible?
It is, actually. If
Yeah.
you take a short detour off 169 to Hibbing, you can visit the whole Rusk Mahoning mine view.
Hibbing, okay.
Yeah. From there, you can actually watch active taconite mining. See the huge trucks, the giant shovels. It really drives home that iron mining is still very much alive in the region.
Fascinating. Any other nearby points of interest?
Well, if you're into hockey, the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame Museum isn't far. It's in Eveleth, which is near Virginia, just off Highway 53. Minnesota and hockey, you know,
Right, big connection there.
big connection. And for something completely different, if you have a sweet tooth,
Yes.
Cane Lakes Candies in Virginia. It's supposedly the oldest candy store in Minnesota. over 100 years old.
Wow, a piece of history you can taste.
Exactly. And back in Virginia, we mentioned Olcott Park earlier.
Oh,
It's
yes.
worth a closer look. It's a historic 40-acre park.
What's special about it?
It has this amazing old electric fountain. Apparently, it originally had like 65 water jets and colored lights. It's been restored. Plus, there's a greenhouse and botanical garden there, too. A nice, peaceful spot.
Sounds lovely.
And one more for the active folks, the Mesabi Trail. It's a paved biking trail that runs right across the Iron Range. And you can access it from Virginia. Another great way to see the area.
Okay, so tons to see and do. If someone is planning this drive, any final practical tips?
Yeah, a couple of things. Always check the latest weather forecast and road conditions, especially outside of summer.
Good call. Where would you check?
The National Weather Service Duluth website is good, and Minnesota's 511 service usually has up-to-date road info.
Okay.
And definitely think about when you want to go. We talked about the seasons, Winter Festival in Feb, fall colors, maybe September, October, summer for lakes. It really changes the trip.
Right. Tailor it to what you want to experience.
Exactly. And maybe this sounds obvious, but fill up your gas tank before you get to the more remote stretches.
Yeah.
Services can be spaced out.
Better safe than sorry. Standard Northwoods advice.
Pretty much. So, yeah, when you pull it all together, this drive, Ely to Virginia, it's really more than just getting from A to B.
It feels like it. It's a passage through Minnesota history, through the Iron Range story.
Right, through that mining legacy, but also through stunning nature and connecting these two towns that have their own distinct flavors.
You get the wilderness access feel with Ely.
The gateway to the BWCAW.
And then the sort of historical town hub feel with Virginia, the Queen City.
Exactly. It captures that blend of industry, nature, and community that defines northeastern Minnesota.
So here's something to maybe leave you thinking about. As you traveled this route, notice how the land itself tells a story.
Yeah.
The forests, the lakes, even those huge mine pits. They're like silent narrators of the generations who lived and worked here.
That's a great way to put it.
What other stories are hidden just off the main highway, waiting to be found? It really encourages you to look closer, doesn't it? Explore the history, the nature.
It absolutely does. There's
Yep.
always more to discover in a region this rich.